that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
What up, everybody? Welcome to DCTV. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is Tuesday, October 11th, 2022, and we have really boring movement in the market right now. It is pretty much flat. S&P is down 8.5 points. The Dow's down 37. Nasdaq's down 28. Crude oil is now back down below $90 a barrel. And I got to tell you guys, on my trip back down here, it was $4 a gallon in Colombia.
Damn.
Yeah, it was bad. Looking at Bitcoin, $19,180 per Bitcoin. That's down 1%. We have some interesting topics today, but guys, how's your morning so far?
Good. Just knocked out some push-ups to wake up.
Oh shit!
I do that. I don't know if anybody else does that. I feel like everybody has their little thing that they do, right? What's the thing you do? You do some jumping jacks. You like dance real quick. What do you do? You know,
some pull-ups,
I just
push-ups.
knock out push-ups. Just push-ups.
And
just
then
knock them out real quick.
Eat like an animal.
Honestly, I'm with Indo Crypto. It's music. That jam,
it's good.
It hits different every morning. It's like
my dancing shoes to a Taco Titty Tuesday.
Yeah.
Damn, Indo, what do you do Tuesday nights?
You get chicks to send them titties on Titty Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I want to hang out with Indo on a Tuesday. Going up.
Like
everybody says they love Taco Tuesday, but it should be Titty Tuesday.
Well, if you keep doing birthdays the way you do, it just might damn well be.
Hell yeah. How about that?
I'm all for the tacos, to be honest.
Without the shemales, please.
Yeah.
Now that we're on this topic, Jaime, you have to define which tacos we're talking about.
The no extra meat kind?
Yeah, no sausage tacos.
We don't hate you, though, Jaime. I mean, experimentation. Fine. You end up liking it. We still love you here. It's fine.
Everyone gets curious. We get it. We understand.
$20 is $20, bud.
Well, they pay me to put my clothes back on, to be honest.
That sounds like a profitable business then.
Hey, it's still a way to make money, right?
It's just the gagging look they give me that.
It's so funny. Inverse prostitution. Like, I will call you here, and then you end up paying me to put my clothes back on.
Right, like, bro,
you suck as a prostitute.
That would be so much money for prostitutes. I'm sorry, but if a girl shows up naked, like, I'm gonna tell your wife, like the guy's like, take this $100 bill, get out of my house. Like, boo, I don't know who you are.
Oh man, how do I timestamp all this?
This is just called intro, Tam. Just intro.
Yeah.
I love how we come in hot every morning. I'm just saying.
Man, hot. Yeah.
That's right.
No who's cracking tacos. One?
You know it's Don.
Yeah. Don has all the sound bites. You know, his bell goes off for his alarms, and everybody thinks he's trying to get people to shut up. He cracks a beer first thing in the morning and then says it's not a beer.
Is this textured though? Is it textured, Don, or ribbed? What kind of drink is this?
Is just a
NOS.
The extra powerful. I think I've literally just fallen asleep drinking like Monsters and Red Bull. So NOS I'm trying not to refuse because it's like the one thing that like does like keep me awake. So I don't want to have like 1,000 of those.
Dude, I'd be watching The House all night if I drank one of those at night.
Oh God, I had Monster for dinner the other day. Like I forget what movie we were watching. I was out cold. I had wings and a Monster, and like that was it.
God damn.
Good gosh, that's amazing. Have you tried any of the other energy drinks, like either the little shots, 5 hours, or the Bang or anything like that?
No, Bang I drink on like road trips. Yeah, Bang works. It's like when I drink
the creatine. Why is Bang only for road trips?
Because I need to stay awake. I don't want to get if there's something different about Bang, so I don't want to develop an immunity or whatever.
I mean, when you quadruple your driving time because your travel time because you refuse to hop on a little plane.
Mario Baracus.
Driving to Texas, like Dallas is only like 7. Well, for me, it's like 7 hours. Like I would spend that long in the actual airport, so it's faster for driving. Then I got my own car down there.
That's
fair. I can see that. Yeah, I've done that actually.
Within 5 hours, I'll drive.
Yeah, same here.
Each guy.
Within 8.
What do you set your cruise control at?
9 over.
That's right.
11 over.
Yeah,
not when going through Virginia. When you go through
how about
Virginia, you
Virginia,
better
Brad?
not put it over 5.
Yeah. I was 13. God damn it. I was 13.
Yeah, Brad got a ticket.
That's what Brad told me. Like, I set my cruise at 105 just because the truck like stops right there. If I'm in anything else, it's like 125. Like,
and this motherfucker thinks it's safer to drive than go on a plane.
Yeah, I know what road I'm on. I know my tire condition. I know the weather. I know all of that. Like, I don't know the pilot. I don't know what we're flying in.
You don't know what's going to jump out in front of you. That's what you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I anticipate it. I assume someone will.
God just has to control it.
Gundy's right, though. ADHD and energy drinks makes sleepy time. That's true.
Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
No wonder I sleep all the time then. Damn.
Then, has he picked up on this? Can you guys tell the ADD with me? Or ADD's dead, by the way. It's only ADHD now. So,
why?
Well, I'm right there with you. That's why I'm not in the military any longer.
Yeah, I need to take some ginseng extract shots. Like, what's that going to do for me?
Happy.
No.
Ginger.
I mean, I have ginger beer in my mules. Is that the same?
Ooh.
Nice.
Same flavor,
Moscow.
yes. Same flavor.
Well, it sounds like I'm doing the same thing then.
That's right. It's
Much better effect from my mule, I bet, though.
It's called a mule for a reason, brother.
All right. So we have a WTF of the day. Jaime, you ended up sharing this. I only see one tweet from this guy named Jimmy Song. I don't know who this is. Says a fake Nobel went to a fake economist hawking fake money. If you guys didn't catch the news, there was 3 Nobel Prizes handed out. One of them was to Ben Bernanke. What the?
Bernanke, yeah.
Why? I didn't even see this.
Because they did a study.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like, if you look at history, and when empires have gone down is because they printed the shit out of their coin. They the gold ratio started going down on their gold coins. Their silver ratio started going down to shit metals. And now this guy gets a
Nobel Prize.
This guy gets a Nobel Prize for doing precisely what has brought previous empires down. God damn it!
Yeah,
I performed a study on all the ways that I fucked up. It was very difficult, but I studied it, and now I'm a Nobel Prize winner because I suck donkey balls.
Is just
seriously, you know what it's like? It's really like here's like a really good parallel. So it's like you have a doctor who is responsible for patient P. So the doctor encourages patient P to like eat tons of junk, denies that it's bad for him, dismisses any early signs of disease, and then inevitably patient P develops a terminal illness, no doubt. So this doctor then springs into action, prescribes P a ton of different drugs, and now P is a zombie, but he's still alive. And the doctor wins a damn Nobel Prize for that. Good job, Doc. Way to save us.
Yeah. So here's the backstory. So if you guys don't know anything about Ben Bernanke, let's just back up for a second because I think we jumped in a little too hot, which is fine. we need to get the full story. So of the 3 people, this is according to the New York Times, of the 3 people who won the Nobel Prize for economics yesterday, one who stood out was the former Fed chair, Ben Bernanke. The current Fed chair is Uncle Jerome Powell. Unlike the vast majority of laureates, Bernanke was able to actually apply his research on banks and financial crises into a real-world scenario in the 2008 market meltdown. Bernanke's work as head of the Fed was given only a glancing reference in the prize citation, but the award resurrected the debate over his handling of the financial crisis. Supporters say, in quickly setting up hundreds of billions of dollars, which is what Jaime was talking about, printing worth of bailout programs for banks and unleashing a wave of economic stimulus, Bernanke helped prevent the Great Recession from becoming a Great Depression, his backers say. And what we're trying to say is that this essentially was just kicking the can down the road, and now it is Jerome Powell's problem, and now we have raging inflation because of an unforeseen, now granted, again, unforeseen pandemic that took place that kind of forced his hand, but this is building up to it, and COVID and the consequences of COVID was kind of just a linchpin for what was already going on in the economy before that took place.
Guys,
If I hit it right?
It just pushed the problem down the can. The debt balloon globally was around here.
Right.
Now we're around here. Fuck, now you can't see my arms because it's that big now. It's like, guys, yes. It's like, there is no way we can, like, middle class is going to disappear globally. Like, who's paying for this? Who got the funds? It was not the people in general. It was just everyone else. It's like institutions got it. Institutions got saved. The ones that shouldn't have been saved were saved thanks to this quantitative easing. And now you're seeing all the value leaving the original countries, coming back to the United States. It's just, but you look outside on what's going on, there is no way we can repay this entire can down the road. It's just, you no longer have gold. You no longer have silver. You no longer have true store of value left. It's all inflated. It's all derivatives that were pushed forward with quantitative easing, which is what Bernanke did. So that's our big problem we have now.
Is there differences in Nobel Prizes? There's not just one, right? Because
No,
I feel like, yeah, the Nobel Prize used to be something that was legit and really there for groundbreaking, like earth-shattering things. And now it's like, this guy's winning it. Like Ellen wins a Nobel Prize. Megan Rapinoe wins a Nobel Prize. Obama wins a Nobel Prize. Well, what do you got to do? Just like be wrong and you win a Nobel Prize?
Yeah.
You got it.
I mean, what is the Nobel these days?
It now became that award you get for participation now. It's
Yeah,
no
there it
longer
is.
because you changed the world or won the game. It's you participated in fucking us,
Well,
fucking
that makes
human
sense why
kind.
all those people keep winning it. Then. That just makes all the sense in the world. Then thank you.
And that $800,000 ain't too bad either.
Right. On top of that.
They get 800 grand for getting a Nobel Peace Prize?
Yes.
God, I'm gonna
yes.
What the fuck?
The idea of the winnings is to support further advancement by the individual who won it.
Oh,
And
I'm
so-
gonna invent common sense again. Great.
Yeah, shit, bro.
I'm
The
going
new
with that.
number one on the fucking endangered species list.
No idea. No
Yeah.
clue.
That's
Yeah, it is a what the fuck. It's almost like we're living in Superman's bizarro world or inverse everything. It's like nothing is what it used to be. It's
Seriously. So what do we do? Like, please raise your kids right. Please raise your kids on the sky is blue. A woman is a woman. A man is a man. 2 + 2 = 4.
And
Fat
we live
is
on a ball.
unhealthy. Can we please just raise our kids to understand that there is usually one winner? And if you lose, here is how you lose with tact, class, and grace. It happens in life. Can we please just raise our kids right? Because otherwise they grow up and they turn into this shit. This is terrible.
I think we need to stop calling it contests. I think that's the problem. I was thinking about this the other day because everyone loves participation medals. Stop calling it a contest if everyone's going to get a medal. That's just a
Right.
hangout. Like,
It's a
we're
practice.
not going to change the trophies. Just change what it's going to be called because the contest implies there's going to be a winner.
We're doing a live practice today, and all of you participated. Good job.
Yeah.
yeah, truly.
Well, like I went to my daughter had a gymnastics meet. It was like a practice one, I guess, but still they didn't give a score. Typically the judge will hold up score. It was sayings like "good job," "you look great." Like it was like all of that instead of a score, and everyone won. I was like, well, not how I remember things going down when I was doing that, but
There was no, you call that a handspring?
yeah.
What cartwheel?
Why don't you try that one again?
Make it round this time.
Yeah, I was like, what is this crap? Like it was like my first like the first time it happened to me, I was like, God, we're not playing this game, are we? Like, no, if they suck, they suck. Like that's if you don't want to suck, there's a way to go around that. You could just practice, not suck anymore, or not do it. Like those are two options. Like
This really concerns me, Don, of what's coming. Like you say, okay, let's get it over with. Let's start a war. Let's do this. But what is that war going to look like? I mean, if everyone's winning participation, what the hell is going to happen? I'm concerned for our youth and our society today, like where we're at.
Well, there's battles they have on TikTok now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see the Russian teenagers go against the U.S. teenagers on TikTok and see who can dance it off. That's how it's going to happen.
Damn. You know, honestly, though, the biggest weapon you have in all this is your finances. I mean, it might not be much, but where the individual citizen has the most power inside of their usually very corrupt government is what they do with their finances and how they choose to spend their money. And the more that you can stop using the dollar, since it is just backed by a giant monopoly on violence, and we're going to send them to, we're sending these dollars to whoever the loudest person is, just stop using your finances in the system that's broken. And that's one of the reasons I got into cryptocurrency in the beginning is, I did it with my savings and my personal wealth that I wanted to hold on to. There's a number of reasons, and that being one of them. Like, I just don't want to participate in a broken system and contribute anymore to the bullshit that's going on. So it might not be much, but I will take the power that I have and I will remove it from that system.
And proof of what you just said is if you go to documenting Bitcoin on Twitter, there's a chart there that's really eye-opening. The highest adoption rate of usage of Bitcoin right now is at Ukraine. What are they going through is exactly what Don mentioned, is like a war. And you can see, and there is even a front news headline of a family man who walked out of Ukraine into Europe with $2,000 worth of Bitcoin in his pocket in a USB. If he carried it in any other form, I think it would have been found, confiscated if they knew what was in there. So that's Bitcoin itself is a store of value for the future. Argentina, if you ask a normal individual in Argentina, Venezuela, or any of these failing areas, they would rather put it in Bitcoin, despite this massive drop it's had, because Bitcoin has not dropped like their currency has dropped. So in the end, Bitcoin is the right answer towards a future where if you can't buy gold, well, you have Bitcoin. It's electronic. You can take it with you.
I feel like we should not tell our kids, or we should tell our kids to be quiet about it, though. It's going to be such a minority. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, don't tell everyone your parents had a brain. Like, you're going to stand out. Like, you're going to make yourself a target. Like, I do think about this a lot. Like, just, we're poor like everyone else. Like, we're broke. We're all stupid. Yeah, the government was right the whole time. Like, just don't stand out. Like,
but that is true, Don. That's a philosophy I grew up with in Latin America. You do not show any wealth whatsoever. You do not show any success because it's a target on your back, and it's what attracts violence towards you. So that's a wise way of living, actually.
Yeah, off the radar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, hell.
All right, so that conversation really got deep.
Go
ahead, Jaime.
We can end it with a famous quote from, I think it was George Washington. Yeah. Just want to check my chat real quick. Yeah. Stay strapped or get clapped.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one.
There's another one. I think I'm not sure who coined it. It might have been Shakespeare, where he said, "Fuck around and find out."
I think he did. Yeah, breaking it down.
Yeah,
there's one by Warren Buffett, from what I understand too. That's going to be something that Tamp needs to say, because I'm not going to say
it. And Warren didn't say that, but it's a great meme, though. It's a great meme.
It is a great meme. All right, so moving on. Coinbase and other exchanges could be broken up under Watchdog's proposed crypto reforms. So if you guys didn't catch this news, in a letter to the Group 20 or G20, finance ministers and central bank governors Tuesday. Let me here you go. You guys can see my beautiful face now, because watching, which is fine.
I'm not
I was doing you a favor. So Klaus Knot, the chair of the Financial Stability Board, the FSB, and president of Dutch Central Bank, warned over risks that crypto poses for investors and market confidence. Warned over risks that crypto poses investors and market overconfidence, I should say. The current crypto winter has reinforced our assessment of existing structural vulnerabilities in these markets, and concerns about the risks they pose to financial stability are therefore likely to come back to the fore sooner than later. They outlined recommendations for regulations of digital assets by financial authorities, and crypto exchanges were one of them. Coinbase was highlighted here to be broken up, and it didn't really specify how they should be broken up, but I think the concern here, and to me, this sounded a lot like FUD, and it was they're afraid of these exchanges getting too big, I guess, and being like a BlackRock that is super influential globally, or JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, and it's like, God forbid Coinbase becomes as big as these guys, because then all the control is lost.
Yes, that's what bitches do. Seriously, if they can't compete, they try to bring you down. And that's literally what they're seeing, is this huge adoption. The fact that BlackRock is looking at Coinbase and coming up with an interface with them, it's just a clear sign that they are scared. You know
what, Jaime, this is interesting, because you have people of influence sitting on two sides of this, right? Because Paul Tudor Jones, multi-billionaire, is a crypto bull, is a Bitcoin bull. He owns Bitcoin, has owned it for quite a while. If you guys don't know who Paul Tudor Jones is, very famous hedge fund investor. He's on CNBC all the time. According to Forbes, his current net worth is about $7.5 billion. And he says, he's recently quoted saying, "I've always had a small allocation to Bitcoin. In time, there will be too much money, too much fiscal spending, as we've been talking about all morning. Something like crypto, specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum, will have that value at some point." This is according to Bitcoin.com and CNBC. So my point is that you have people that have money that are all about it, and they're just like, let's just give all the crypto to the people. Yeah, we want it regulated, but I'm still going balls to the wall. But then you have other folks, such as the G20, looking at this as a potential threat. And it is just interesting to see how people of influence are on either side of this issue.
And it's an easy question. Who wins? Who loses? It's that simple. The central banks are the ones that will lose. And in this game, when it comes to this, because now they see a hole in their damn wall of liquidity leaving into an asset that they do not and cannot control. So that's where the game lies. And just look at the writing on the wall. Mm-hmm. The fact that there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and Fidelity has 34 million customers, exchange accounts. Right. You can see the potential. As soon as regulation comes in, those floodgates open up. So now access to actual Bitcoin opens up to the world. And as people start understanding that this dollar I have today is depreciating to the degree where I can't buy even a banana for under $1 almost nowadays, it will make sense to everyone else as they move forward. And now you're seeing countries adopting Bitcoin beyond El Salvador and a few others, or planning on doing so, because they're the ones on the shaft side of the global central banking, IMF and all that stuff. So they're looking for alternatives to survive, come out there. And Bitcoin is what keeps coming up as an alternative. I'm not saying it's the full answer, but it is a hedge against what's occurring in the global markets.
Yeah. It definitely concerns me for many economies, but ours in particular, just because it seems as if that the U.S. is falling behind in this, and it's interesting, right?
Yes.
Because the U.S. is host to the most miners in the in the world at this point, and it is yet so slow to adopt, and that's the part that I don't know. That I mean, that's what we're here for. But I don't know
Yes.
where I was going with it or what point.
No. But you're going in the right way.
Observation, I guess.
I don't
You're
know if
going-
it's that they're slow to adopt, but what they do is they end up regulating the shit out of something, and it kills all creativity. It kills all experimentation. It just kills a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, I knew quite a few investors, just as a parallel, in the Central Texas area, that purposely stayed out of certain jurisdictions, like just certain areas, because dealing with their city council and dealing with their local government was just a massive problem and hardship into getting anything built and done and revenue generating on their land. So they just went to neighboring jurisdictions and neighboring counties to do their business because the one that they wanted was just too difficult to work with. And I feel like that parallels the US. It's not that they don't build and you can't do things here, but the red tape, the bureaucracy around it all can just be stifling to somebody who's just trying to be creative and get something rolling.
And read the signs. I mean, okay, if Bitcoin has no future, why and there is an opening, regulatory opening, where that allows mining without hard or difficult consequences. Now you have huge capital going in Texas. Like, you just drive around now and you're going to start seeing all the flare offs from methane and all these others disappearing from the horizon as you drive through Texas, because now they're channeling it to mint Bitcoin, and they're deploying all this capital for Bitcoin. Like, okay, there's a sign here. The people with money are putting their money in mining Bitcoin. Read the signs, guys. There's a future out there. It's just a matter of understanding, why are they doing this? If there is no future, or if regulation is going to come down really terribly on this, why are these huge capital outlays being distributed or invested into Bitcoin mining? There is a reason.
Yeah.
Did Kathy Wood include this in her letter?
No, she should.
No, I didn't. But go elaborate on that, Don.
She wrote a letter to the feds. So basically, the market's saved. She told them how to do their job. So,
Yeah. And then they wrote back saying, "Hey, sell your Zoom, sell your Roku."
yeah, seriously, like, if you could find that article, like, Kathy Woods wrote a letter to the Fed about how she feels and what they need to do. I swear I will never listen to another Powell speech if they say okay and entertain a single word from it. Like,
Wow.
Did you read it?
no, I don't actually care for Kathy Wood. They're making fun of it in my chat because, like, oh, the market's saved now. Like, we're good.
Exactly.
Like, I couldn't even imagine if they even entertained the idea. Like, are you telling me we would pivot and do all that because Kathy wrote a letter? Like, just the thought of that's asinine. Like, now she needs to be checked. Like, where are you delusional? Like, where do you think this is going to play out? You're just going to save the United States? Like, they don't just sit and think about this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we've been here this whole time. Kathy Wood's been right here too. Like, we should just ask her from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're saved now.
Yeah.
So Savvy
found-
Money has a point, right? And I know we may have mentioned it on here before, but Jaime and I went to a conference up in Pennsylvania, up in Pittsburgh, and it was all about crypto and mining. And there were a couple politicians at that meeting that said, we don't know anything about this. And so do you want us modeling regulation off of something we don't understand? I would say that answer is no, right? And the only way to get past that is to try to reach out to our legislators and help them.
Thanks, Don.
That was loud. That was and echoey. Sorry about that.
and help them understand what crypto is and what needs to be regulated and how it needs to look. Because if we leave it to their own vices, it's the special interests that they're going to have their ear more than anybody else, right? And then it's going to be tailored to one specific group and not the benefit of the group overall.
Yep.
That was
Agreed.
such an insightful meeting that Greg and I attended. Greg, I even had forgotten about that. And I love the fact that he was even saying, guys, if you don't educate the politicians, if you don't speak to your politicians, they're just going to apply what they know, which is old economics, old laws, and whoever has the loudest voice is going to win.
Did you guys ever watch the when Congress, remember when Facebook was going through the data sharing issues or whatever? What the fuck was that called? I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is that Mark Zuckerberg had to go in front of Congress, and some of the questions they were asking him was just like basic dumb shit, because not one of them even had a Facebook page. And this is the same thing. It's like they don't understand it, but they're still expected to make some sort of laws on this type of technology. So yeah, to your point, Jaime, education needs to go just a lot further than just us common folk.
And it is, and I'm gonna steal the screen for just a second here, but it all ties into this comment right here that Indo Crypto made. There are articles out there that say the consensus of these third world countries is that Bitcoin is negative, when in reality the people want to adopt Bitcoin. So the people want it, so it gets on the politician's mind. And then let me just share this real quick. Then you have some politicians that it looks like are trying to do it right. Boom. So share this. So this right here is a congressman from South Carolina that went to El Salvador. There was actually an economic fund that was put together for $500,000 to teach politicians about how digital currencies are being used in third world countries. So right here it says they agreed to let him spend $500,000 to study digital currency literacy, this, that, and the other. And he reports down here in this article, boom, what Indo Crypto just said. The politician is saying they knew it wasn't going to be easy. They knew that there were going to be missteps, he said. I feel confident they are going to do a fine job with it. Whether that's what South Carolina wants to do, I don't know. What I've learned in El Salvador is that what the critics have been writing from New York, London, and Paris did not match what I saw in El Salvador. So it hits the nail on the head with what Indo Crypto said. And you do have regulators that are trying to learn, right? In this case, it's South Carolina. They're trying to go to the places where Bitcoin is being used, adopted, and bring it back. But do we lift those politicians up? Do we echo what they say? Do we vote for them in a second term? You know, what do we do with this information for those that are trying to learn and understand, you know, from our seat in our living room? What can we do to help elevate these types of people? You know, Cynthia Loomis is another one. They're trying to get things passed, and you got to support them when they do. That's your power. Your power is your money and your vote. You know, as little as it might be, that's where your power lies.
Absolutely. And a proof of that also is they don't mention the fact that Chivo wallet, it's a wallet that was created by the government, and they have ATMs here in the States.
In El Salvador, you're talking about?
No.
Chivo wallet?
Chivo wallet is El Salvador,
right?
But the ATMs they put are here in the States. I can go to a Salvadorian restaurant here in even in Dallas, and you can actually convert your cash or any cash you have into Bitcoin, and then send it down to El Salvador for pennies, like truly pennies on the dollar, versus the old way of doing things, which in their meager wealth generation, it would be 30 to 50% of their value gone to Western Union or all these old bank structures that exist. They have literally earned billions or saved billions in lost revenue into the country because they adopted Bitcoin, and now it's being spread across the country. So in practice, but you don't read articles about that. We'll post it in Discord for everyone to see, And usually they're in Spanish because it's the Salvadorians sharing their success, that now they can send more money so their families can have a better living back home while they bust their ass over here. So adoption is real. It's just a matter of who the loudest voices are to kind of wag the dog for you, so you believe that there is no future in it.
All right, that was God. We were getting in some deep conversations today, guys.
I love it.
I'm loving it too. This is a great show. You know, lots of times we like to fuck around and goof off, but like there's some really heavy hitting stuff here. Dr. J, I wanted to comment on this too. Just people with money are building beach mansions and buying beach real estate, yet climate change is going to cause tsunamis. Obviously being sarcastic here. Bitcoin and crypto are the beach houses that the wealthy are investing in, while the regulation priests are trying to shun the little folks away. And that's what we've seen over all of history. Virtually all of history. Look at weapons, for example. I mean, that's why the U.S. we have 2,500 and some odd nukes, and it's like, I don't know, a shit ton more than anybody else. I was gonna throw a number out there, but I knew I was gonna be wrong about that. There's a shit ton more than everybody else.
It's MAD, mutually assured destruction. We have enough to comply with MAD.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
projection of force.
Yes.
Shifting gears a little bit, actually a lot of bit, I should say. Not a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about EVs today, and especially because, well, I don't know where Don went. He'll be back, I guess.
He blue screened.
Yeah,
his bell went off and blue screened.
He needs to figure that shit out. But Greg's here too, so he'll appreciate.
He needs to take a little bit of that investment money and buy a fucking computer.
I know.
That should be the challenge. Can Don trade his way to a new computer? Like, we can sponsor this. We will start you with $50, and can you trade your $50 to a new computer?
He has a strong community. He should make it.
Are you guys familiar with Hoovie's Garage on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got 1.4 million subscribers, and he reviewed the Ford Lightning.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't familiar with the Ford Lightning, it's an electric pickup truck, and he mentions that it may not be a great option if you need to tow something. So
it's not going to function as a truck.
That's the argument that he's making.
Similar to what he said.
Hoover tried to tow an old 1930s Ford pickup with his brand new Ford F-150 Lightning. The test apparently didn't go well, as the new electric truck used a way more range than expected. And he quoted as saying, if a truck is towing 3,500 pounds, it can't even go 100 miles. That's ridiculously stupid. He said this truck can't do normal truck things. And I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit, Don and Greg, on this topic, because, you know, I know that, Greg, you were looking at the Lightning. I know that Don, I think, either ordered it or is planning on ordering the Lightning. What are your thoughts on this? Does this change your opinion? Is this a Ford problem? Is it a Tesla problem?
Or battery problem? Or what is it? Technology problem?
Yeah, EV problem.
I think it's an EV problem at this point in time, period. And it's a problem because the technology is not there yet to make batteries that are going to be able to stand up to everyday use and not be too damn heavy that the weight starts to offset what the power of the battery is.
So I guess thoughts are, we just talked last week, I think it was Friday. Was it bless you. Was it
sorry, that was my son.
was because we just saw that
the Tesla
semis, right? And so the semis are expected to tow a shit ton of I would imagine weight, and so this is create more problems than not. Don, you have the floor.
Anybody surprised by this just doesn't truly have a grasp of how things actually work. The batteries aren't dense enough. You know, and like you said, like there comes a time where you put too much battery on there, it's a negative effect. It can't even haul itself because it has to spend so much energy just, you know, just doing that. So I think because I have talked about that. We touched on it last week, I think, because I think the F-150 is perfect for everyone who has no plan of actually using it as a work truck. Like this, it is an EV thing. It's not a Tesla thing. It's not an F-150 thing. It's a battery thing. So that's why I said I'll be surprised when the Cybertruck comes out, how that actually performs for someone who actually is being touted to use that as a work truck. Because right now, towing anything, worthless. And it's funny you even picked that video, because did you see Alex Jones pulled that clip?
No.
So it went viral. So he took that clip, played that guy's video. I actually watched that video, then happened to catch the Alex Jones got recommended to me. Alex Jones says Ford Lightning can only go 20 miles an hour while towing. He just misconstrued everything and said it can only go 20 miles an hour. Like the guy in the video is doing 70 miles an hour towing. Yeah. And for some reason, that Alex Jones video goes viral. Like everyone's talking about how these new EVs suck. They're taking it at his word.
Why does anybody listen to that guy?
I don't know. I mean, he's literally showing you the guy go over 20 miles an hour, telling you he's not going over 20.
I know.
but seriously, when we talked about the semi EV, we said, okay, it might not be able to haul long distance, but at least it could deliver bulk goods in more of a local city environment. Mm-hmm. In a better way that a traditional combustion engine semi could, or diesel engine could. Why would anybody want a pickup truck that can't do what pickup trucks are supposed to do? This is like the same reason why like Jeep Wrangler came out with an automatic 4-cylinder Jeep. It's like, what is that? That's not even close to being a Jeep. And now you're going to make an EV truck that looks like a truck that can't do what a truck can do. Why do people want this? Is it just a look? I don't get it.
Have you ever looked at people's hands, Tam? People don't work anymore. Well, soft baby hands. They're not doing any work with that truck. Like,
yeah.
So the F-150 is the number one selling vehicle. Like, not truck, number one selling vehicle. We're Americans. We like shiny cheese, and we just like big things. And so the F-150 is big. So for taller people, they can fit in it. The bed is essentially just a giant trunk. So the F-150 is going to fit them even better, because now there's an actual front. There is like the actual front cabin is enormous. So it's just a giant car is all it is to most people. Most people have no idea. I bet most of the trucks on the road have never had anything attached. They probably never had a trailer hitch installed. So they'll never even notice. At that point, it's just a giant Tesla.
What is shiny cheese, Don? What Americans like shiny cheese?
Just
what is that?
Melted, shitty, shiny cheese. And we just put it on everything.
It's called a cheesesteak, motherfucker.
Shiny cheese. I like brie, so I'm bad all of a sudden. It's Matt.
I heard that a long time ago, and it just stuck because it was so true. And he's like, you just go to America, they just put cheese on everything. And I was like, well, yeah, like we do.
Timestamp.
Because it's good.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. I didn't know it was so prejudiced. I was like, yeah,
who cares? Right. It's not milk anymore.
Yeah, unless it's wrapped in plastic. Like, I can't get down with the singles. I have had them, and I have had them before, but like, yeah, not about that life.
I don't know. That's the part I think that just bothers me, because it does give a poser's mentality. Yeah. I understand that, there is technology and you have to experiment with it. And I mean, by all means do it. You can make an EV vehicle that is super fast. So go ahead and produce that. And I think Tesla and everybody else is doing that. That works. But why do you make something that is meant to haul look like that thing when it's not? Like, I can make the argument with the semis. Listen, we made this semi to see how it works in the city. It's not for distance, it's for the city, and we can build on that. I just don't see where you make an automatic 4-cylinder Jeep Wrangler and call it a Jeep Wrangler. Same thing with the Ford Mustang. You made a 4-cylinder Mustang and called it a Mustang. And now you're doing the same type of deal with the EV pickup truck that can't tow. I hear what you're saying, Don. There is, I guess some legitimacy there in the utility of a bed, but my God.
You know why? You can't get one because they're sold the fuck out.
It's wild to me, but that all goes back to what we're talking about, this poser mentality bullshit. It's either real or it's not. There's only one thing that a truck is meant to do, and that's to haul and work. That's what they were originally meant for. And I get that we had the Denali's and all these other things that have made trucks a luxury thing, but at least they can still pull a boat, like it might be your really nice Cadillac of trucks, but they can still pull. You can still throw stuff in the back. I don't get it. I don't get it unless you say it's in the realm of, we're experimenting and we're going to learn and grow. Okay. But damn, son.
Even Philip said it's common sense. I'm gonna drop some more common sense on you guys. Cause you're not, well, there's one more step to it.
I love it, Don. I love it, Don.
Somebody's getting a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Common
EV
sense
diesels.
prize,
Let's
baby.
go.
No, okay. So Tim, how far away is a furniture store from you?
I don't know, 5 minutes within a couple miles.
Sweet. So if my EV with a range of 500 miles can only do 50 with a trailer, I can still go to your furniture store and still haul it back. I can still do
100%.
truck things. So I can still do truck things. The one thing I can't do is I can't go cross country. So even
you can't go to the deer lease. You can't go to the good fishing honey holes. You can't go where the rural work needs to be done, where you actually need a pickup. You can't take it out to feed the livestock. All the shit that a pickup truck was originally for, we're stripping away and just turning it into like a look. It's a fashion icon. I just don't like that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying, you shouldn't do that, but it's a poser. I don't get it's just a poser.
Hold on. Let me bring another element to this conversation. So
he's got a Jeep.
Government
but it's a stick shift, guys.
It is.
You know what would happen if I showed up to my hunting lease in my EV pickup and they're like, sweet, take this deer blind, haul it across here. And I'm like, I can't, it's too heavy, or my battery's about to die. I won't be able to get home. They'll be like, can you pack that bullshit up and go somewhere else? Go back to the city with that?
They would say, why didn't you come with a full tank like the rest of us did?
Yeah, they'd be like, why don't you turn that in and get a diesel? Or why don't you turn that in and get a real 4x4?
They would ask Tam to go get her penis and come back.
Just say it.
Yeah, let me go grab my eggplant.
It's like, you're right, that's a good idea. I was thinking about trading my Ford Lightning and getting 3 of those. Yeah, but because I can afford the nicer things, here I am. So here we are.
Yeah, like your piano back there, that baby grand, that also is like real authentic, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, so I wanted to bring another element to this. So, we have governments such as a lot of European governments, as well as the U.S., talking about ESG and getting things, evolved to the point to where we have some sort of full adoption or alternative fuel vehicles. I don't see how that happens ever at this point. When are they going to have the technology, or how are they going to have the technology, to your point, Don, to make electric powered earth movers? Or if you live on 1,000 acres and you have a farm truck that you need to tow around shit, like that's how and when is that going to happen? I mean, I don't see that taking place anytime soon. If that's the case, what's happening with Greg's? Shit.
My grandpa had a farm. It was 3,500 acres, and that F-150 Lightning would do everything just fine.
Yeah, if it could get there first.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to.
Well, I live there, so here I am.
All right.
And I would just
explain to me how it would be just fine. I don't understand that, because
on a farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not on 3,500 acres.
Put the shit in the bed and drive it out to the cattle. The pedals are in the same spot. It's the same steering wheel.
But you have to go get the feed first from the feed mill from the mill, and then haul it to where you have to go. I mean, like, it takes a lot. You don't just go feed the cows. You know this. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
I think there's going to be a separation between actual working people and posers. I mean, look at the commercials. I mean, who do they show? Oil workers. They show people up in high country lifting heavy weights, hauling.
Yeah, they sure won't show EVs towing.
Correct. Or them holding out, like Savvy Money spoke, where they're holding out their arm just to carry their planks of wood so they don't dirty the back. I think that's where the big separation is going to be.
Yeah.
And I guess it is. I guess people who like the look of a pickup truck but don't need its utility. Like I said, it's like the 4-banger Mustang. You like the look of the Mustang, but you can't afford the Cobra, so you just get this. And I don't know. Everybody knows. I don't know why you would pay all of that money for a shell, for what looks like a pickup but doesn't effectively deliver.
If it can do everything I want to do around town, if it can get me to the lake with my boat and back home, then it's served its purpose.
That's fair. It's just an expensive thing to do
I-
it with.
You know, it's
Yeah.
really expensive getting your car towed because it blew a radiator hose that deteriorates from the inside. You never saw it coming, so it was parked on the side of the road.
So is
Anyone ever had
replacing a
that
battery.
happen?
So is
What's that?
replacing a battery.
What's that?
Replacing a battery is pretty expensive.
You ever replaced
Yeah.
a battery?
I don't own an EV, so no.
Well, they're rated for 1 million miles. Your radiator rated for 1 million miles. Your gas engine rated for 1 million miles.
No,
Well,
but I can work on that. I can go buy a radiator for $60.
I've replaced plenty of radiators, no problem. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
have,
like-
I have a tow service, so that argument is not valid at all.
Yeah,
And
you never
that's-
need that. But
That's part of it is the utility of some of the older vehicles. They're easy to work on, replace. Thus, you don't have to get rid of it after its effective life cycle is done. You can actually hang on to things that you learn about and then take care of. That is not the same concept with EVs. Once their life cycle is done, that battery pack goes bad or anything of the sort, you essentially just have to get a brand new one because there's no you can't work on them, and replacing the battery stack is like 5 figures.
And then,
You know,
how good is that actually for the environment at that point?
it's
It's
actually really
terrible.
good because they're 97% recyclable.
Yeah, but
yeah,
then it puts
after
it
the
down
fact,
ditch.
after you spend a ton of carbon energy mining and then making the batteries that then save on the back end and recycling, and I'm not like we're not trying to get into this like massive debate here, but
I'll get into
just
it.
because you can recycle it on the back end doesn't mean that the front end didn't come with the severe cost to the environment that people want to just ignore.
So
This
look,
is
I don't
not
have
the
blinders on.
by the way.
Okay, I don't have blinders on with this. I know it takes a lot to make the vehicles, and there's no carbon neutral in it. What I do know is that my 85-mile round trip to and from the office each day costs me $30 in electrical versus the $800 I was spending in my truck. That's
I'm a witness
that's what
to
I
that.
know, right?
Yeah.
I'm
So
a
your
witness to
use
that.
case is valid. Your use case is valid. My question now is why get a pickup truck EV to do what you just said? Why not just get a fast an EV that makes sense for what it is? If you
Model
want
3.
something
I like
relatively
sitting up higher.
inexpensive,
I like riding in a truck. My personal preference is I'd rather be in a truck. It's more comfortable to me than a car.
And I
There you
think
go.
I think the question you'd have to ask yourself is it worth the extra $20,000 to be up higher in a truck that isn't as capable and
Isn't as capable as what?
But you make it
isn't as
back.
capable as an
service.
F-350?
Who's buying? If you're buying an F-350, that's a different class.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
well,
totally-
even an F-150 that's able to
Right.
tow over a long distance. Yes, it's going to be more expensive, but it's clearly more reliable in certain situations than an EV pickup
Right.
looks to be.
If Greg wants to tow his boat to the ocean, he can't do it in a Ford Lightning right now.
He'd have
You
to
are
find another
100%
truck.
correct.
Yeah,
Not without
but locally
stopping at a
he's fine.
charging station.
Yeah.
Right.
It-
Locally,
like-
he's fine, but again, that's an expensive round trip to take your boat to only a handful of local, bodies of water to go fishing in. If like you said, if your buddy in Florida wants you to come down and do all this stuff in the Gulf, you got to rent a car or rent a truck or find somebody else to go with you and
You
take
would-
their truck.
Oh, I
Yes,
didn't
it's
say I
better.
wouldn't have my trusty standby.
But
Yeah,
He
the
still
Raptors,
does.
or the Roush isn't going anywhere.
That's
but
right. It's
all
a sexy
this
vehicle.
all this math has already been solved, by the way. The whole how much energy it takes to make the battery. First, so yeah, if we're talking about day one of purchase, it does take more to make the EV. But when you compare it to a regular side-by-side gas, by the time you've had it 6 months, that gas one's already caught up with carbon emissions and now putting out more after the 6-month fact. So that's a wash. And then
That goes for all EVs.
yeah, as long as it's side by side, yeah, or side by side comparison, I guess car and truck with
Okay,
truck.
got it.
Also, think of the parts. Mechanics know this. Brad, you should know this. Think of how many parts are in an actual car. Every module, every stupid domino that connects to the next one. An EV doesn't have that. There's a battery, and then there's the motor. There's no more transmission, no more gearbox. Or I guess there's a. No, there's not a gearbox. No, the individual motors. There's none of that crap. So you got to add all those parts up. It's so much cheaper to run, maintain, and have it. To recharge it, yeah, it's not fairy dust. You do have to pay for the electricity, which people love to share this thing on Facebook of the coal truck. He's like, oh, I'm going to go power some EVs. When fun fact, that one truck to power EVs, the 3 that left it before actually were going to the oil refineries. It takes 3 times as much power to refine that oil into gas before it even makes it to the gas station to actually fuel your trucks. So it's still in every aspect. EVs beat the crap out of the gas in every aspect until it comes down to, again, towing cross country, because we don't have the infrastructure yet. Because you think you're towing to the ocean without stopping at a gas station? It's the same thing. You have to stop at an EV charging station, which there are fewer of. But that's it. And the whole, like, we're going to be EVs by 2035. You think we're not working on the grid we're not working on the grid at all. There's not going to be any upgrades at all. There's not going to be any charging stations added to it. Like, to think by the time we reach that point, by the time there is the mass EV adoption, that stuff has been upgraded and it probably is going to be fine.
Yeah,
Again, I'm not saying we should not move forward with the EV movement.
Yeah, we're not making
technology
the for
that needs to move forward. I'm all about that. That's great. But just, I don't understand why you would pay a shit ton of money for a electric pickup truck that doesn't do what pickup truck utility is originally designed for. Again, if you've answered it, you want to sit higher, you want to look a certain way, you want to give a certain perception, you want to have a bigger interior. Okay, fine. But it's still missing the core values of the utility of a pickup truck. And I just don't, to me, it gives a sense of poser, like the 4-banger Mustangs and Wranglers that came out, where everyone's like, well, I guess you just really wanted a shell or a kit of a real Wrangler or a real Mustang. And in this case, a real utility pickup truck. Yeah, that is my argument.
Yeah. And I think that argument is valid. You know, eventually, and nobody was saying, Don, that the infrastructure wasn't going to be there. It's just that for right now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, at least for me, to spend an extra $20,000 on an EV truck that when I know that I have intentions of using it for other applications that I need a truck for. And I think that that's what the Hoovies video was actually all about. So if you guys actually watch the Hoovies video, it wasn't that he was dogging on the Ford Lightning. It was just, hey, just a heads up, if you're expecting this to do normal truck things right now, it can't. It might later, but right now it just can't. And so that was the whole purpose of it.
And the fact that they're experimenting, I think, is what is the most valuable thing of all, is that they are iterating. So and I love Indo's comment. Everyone's fighting for the Taco Titty Tuesday Nobel Prize today. Yes, we are, Indo.
But what I think a lot of people are blown up about this, even everything Tamp described. Those people, they don't have a new truck. They have a beat up F-350, because the real working class, that's just what they drive. Like, they're the people that use it for that utility are doing that. But think of how often you're in your truck. How often are you in your vehicle? Every mile driven, when you break that down, you're talking probably less than 2% of the time. Drive to the fucking ocean. Sorry, is that every day? Is that every day, every hour? Is that the only thing you do is drive to the ocean? Or how many trips do you? Well, you don't have to go to gas station.
How many times have you heard, well, I don't use my 4x4 on my pickup truck every single day, but the first time I had to park in a field at a concert and it rained and I was able to get out of the mud while everybody else was stuck, it paid for itself in full that one time. And I think you remove that from the equation. It's not that you would use the utility of the pickup truck every single day. Again, it's just the appearance that you have it when you really don't, right? It's like bodybuilders that, you know, they give the appearance that they're these badass athletes, and then you ask them to catch a ball or to cut in the middle of a run and they fall down and they flounder all over the place. Why track stars can't be football players. You look the part, but you can't do the job. And again, I'm not saying that we're not moving forward with the technology to eventually get there. I understand that. But in the interim, it looks a little suspect to me. That's all I'm saying.
Keep it real, Tamp. I guess is your statement. Keep it real.
Every other weekend, I drive back home to Maryland, at least since I've come down here, and that's 420 miles. And I would not be able to make the trip. I'd have to figure out. Well, because I'd have to stop somewhere. I mean, I'd be able to make a trip, but I wouldn't be able to get there in the same time that I get there now.
Right, because you have to stop. You don't stop and get gas. Your Jeep goes that far?
Yeah, just about. I have to stop and get gas about 50 miles before I get there, and so I'm gonna go. I mean, and 400 miles is not what the Ford Lightning has right now, is it?
No, 300. I think.
You'd have to stop and fill up.
I'd have to stop and and how long does it take for the Lightning to charge?
Depends on the charger.
Yeah, so my 6.5 hour drive could turn into who knows how long.
Hours? You gotta step that thing up.
Good point, Indo. Put a Bitcoin miner in your EV.
But you guarantee you won't go anywhere now.
You know what's funny is everyone's like, "Oh, I can't imagine having an EV in Florida." I saw that on Facebook. Someone in my chat does have that. Lost power, everything. So he sat in his Tesla because it had camping mode, kept him at 70, also powered his house. He was just playing games and watching YouTube and Netflix in his EV. There's a lot of like cool facts.
But guess what, Don? My mom's on here if she's still listening. Her and my stepdad did the exact same thing in my gas engine Ford F-150 during the snowpocalypse of Texas 2 winters ago.
But what happened?
They went outside and they were without power for almost a week, and they went outside and they charged their phones and they got warm, and they brought a bottle of wine and sat there and drank wine in a very comfortable environment in my pickup truck. So I hear what you're saying. You're not wrong, and it's probably better that the people in Florida in the EVs did it in their EVs than my truck. But
yeah, because they could have actually just pulled that truck on in, powered their house, and
Speaking,
didn't have any emissions.
yes,
speaking of which, Jaime does not have a plug-in power for his camera.
Yeah, he should have got the Ford
once he gets
Lightning.
back up, we'll bring him in. There he is.
That's going to be actually a good place to stop, guys. We'll get on to birthdays here and send you guys on your way. So today's birthdays,
Meat
an
tacos.
interesting one. We got
Before you do the birthdays, Brad, just one service community announcement.
yes.
Peter's at the WebEx conference in Las Vegas, and he's inviting quite a few people to join us on these live streams.
Mhm.
We will send you, when you connect with us in Discord, we will send you a fight card, a survey. Please fill it out because we need to engage and know who you are so we can actually engage you in a productive way. That's the only service community announcement right now. Let's move forward. I love these birthdays, especially their names.
Well, the first birthday, happy 30th birthday to Cardi B.
Oh Lord.
I didn't 30. I don't know how old I thought she was, but I thought she was over 30. So she's 30 years old today. Rhett McLaughlin, if you guys know Thomas and Rhett, he is 44 years old today. God, how long has that guy been on YouTube? Josh Dubb is also 31. And then we also have Bridget Powers, who is 42 years old. She was the star of Itsy Bitsy Bang Bang, Assault on the Rectum, 31. Creme de la Face and Famous Midgets 2. Those are your birthdays for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you guys want to,
It was a Famous Midgets 1.
I know. Rectum Assault 31. God damn.
That's a lot of
Taco
rectums.
Tuesday, everybody.
Damn near rectum.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Go check us out on Discord. The links are in the description. We'll be back here at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning to do it all over again. Until then, keep calm and hodl on. We'll see you then.
Stay
Have a great one, everyone.